Interesting stuff. Wellington Council in April decided not to introduce a bylaw to ban begging, but Wellingtonians have a reputation, apparently, as being generous to beggars, so the number has increased. What needs to be done? Nicola Young, you first. You supported a ban on begging.
No, I said beggars. I said, no.
You supported a ban on begging.
I said beggars, like buskers, should not be allowed to beg near ATMs because there are some standover tactics used. We need more help from the government so we can work with social services agents and government. A lot of these people have major social issues, and but the beggars are often not the homeless. They're two different categories.
Are they? How do you know that?
Because the social welfare teams have told us.
So, not near ATMs, all right. Do you give money to beggars?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't.
Really?
Yep, I give money to charities. I give money to the soup kitchen. I give money to charities.
$1 coin?
I do not give money to beggars.
Nick,
no.
what about you? When you're passing a homeless person, do you give it?
I do sometimes, yeah. And I think the last thing Wellington City Council needs to do is find more things to beg. I mean, as Justin said today at a meeting, we know the names of all the people that are begging in Wellington. The job is to get the resources which already exist around those people and assist them to, to do things.
Do you give money to people who beg on the streets?
Yes, I do.
When was the last time you gave a gold coin to?
Probably last week on Cuba Street, just outside Slowboat Records. And Nick's absolutely right. We know the names of people who are begging on the streets. The numbers are about 12 to 15.
What about the 30 in Newtown?
We know
More
the
like
names
30.
of them. We know what their issues are. We know their background story. But trying to ban begging and sweeping social issues under the carpet is
That's
never
not
going
what
to
I
work.
said. We need help.
What we need to do as a city is we need to understand what the issues are. If it's drug addiction,
But it's not
mental health,
working.
All right.
understand
It's
the
not
people
working.
and support
Joe
them.
Coughlin, firstly, do you give money to a person who begs on the street when you go past a gold coin? Yes or no?
No, I don't.
You
and that's
don't?
partly because I work in Cuba Street, and that would mean I would be donating every day to the same person who sits at the bottom of our office.
You earn a great salary. What's $1 or $2?
Well, look, I mean, this is a complex issue, and I think the thing about Wellington is that we're a very inclusive city, that we want to look after our people. We've got to be compassionate about it, and it's not going to help if I'm necessarily giving money to every single beggar on the street. But what I am going to do is be respectful of people's different situations, and, there's a lot of people out there that do need help. There are all sorts of different reasons why people do what they do, and actually it would not be for me to judge anybody, but I will be working with those agencies that are there doing a fantastic job to make sure we can provide the best services we can.
Let's go to the other candidates. Hayley.
Yes, Andy Foster, I heard you booing when we were talking about banning begging. Why is that?
We've done that. Well, actually, because that's exactly what Nicola did say. But anyway, leave that aside. I think that the key thing here is that we do have a lot of people who have some real issues, whether it's they've come out of prison, whether they've drugs, alcohol, mental addiction, or mental issues, all of those kind of things. And what we need to do is get around them person by person with compassion to be able to find some solutions. We've got a lot of agencies who are doing a wonderful, wonderful job in those. It's not government, it's not local government, it's community agencies like Downtown Community Ministries, etc., who are doing a fabulous job with these kind of people. And they're the people we need to support so we get those people off the streets, into homes, and into something meaningful they can occupy themselves with.
If you know so much about the local people begging on the streets, how many do we have?
Well, I think there's two different issues here. There's those who are genuinely homeless and those people who have been maybe a little bit opportunistic, but it's a relatively small number, probably less than 20.
Right. Now, so Helen, do you think this is more of a homeless issue rather than a begging issue?
I think it's an issue of poverty, mostly. It's an issue of inequalities in our society. It's an issue of people who have health issues, who cannot afford housing and a shelter, basic shelter. And what we need to do is work with the agencies, not the mayor, the various people, with the agencies. Health and central government and council all need to cooperate to endeavour to find affordable housing and accessible health.
Now, if they're coming to Wellington because they're so generous, isn't that something that Wellington can be proud of?
Absolutely, I think it is, but I have to say, though, I don't give on a personal basis. I think it's much better to give through an institution, through an NGO. I subscribe to Oxfam, I'm a Red Puppy supporter and so on. I have supported in the past Greenpeace and other organisations, so I think that's the way to go.
What happens if there are individuals who haven't got contact with various organisations?
I think it's an enormous problem. My wife's a nurse. She's been a mental health nurse. She's actually working in the Ministry of Health at the moment, and it is something which, has a lot of expertise, is required, a lot of cooperation and collaboration between agencies to solve it. Thanks.
It's a very complex problem.
So what I see there is people give to charities, but 3 out of the 7 candidates do not give to a person who's begging on the street, whether it be a gold coin or so. In terms of the generosity, Justin, that's a bit of an issue, isn't it? Because some beggars have claim to be making up to $200 a day. So one councillor says beggars are treating it like a business here in Wellington.
That's not correct. So we did quite an extensive study on this, and what we found is people would get up to $100 a week, and they needed that often because they simply couldn't pay their bills. They don't choose to be there. So I talked to the guy outside Slow Boat Records. He doesn't want to be there. He couldn't make ends meet. And sure, I don't know his background. He may have a drug addiction. He may have a drinking addiction. But I'm not going to judge him because the fact of the matter is he can't make ends meet. That's why he's on the street, but he doesn't want to be there.
All right. Hey, you've got an interesting idea, Joe, about what you call kindness meters.
Oh, that's right.
What's this about?
Just remembered.
The
Kindness meters.
No, well,
What are you laughing for, Nick?
I said she just remembered.
There was actually we took that out of Canada, actually, in fact. And,
So what are they? What are they?
Well, basically, they're the old parking meters. And so they've turned them into kindness meters so you can actually donate your
But you
loose
don't give money
change
to
into
beggars,
the
Joe.
parking. Well, I might give them to that because I'm not going to go and give it to an individual person, but I give to a lot of charities. I do a lot of charitable work myself.
That's
but
an
the
interesting
kindness meters
idea.
are a good idea.
So what
people want to feel like they're making a contribution.
So one
if they
evening
have
you put
loose
on
change,
you put
can put it in the
on
parking
Pink
meters.
Floyd. You lit up a bit of a joint, and you came up with this bizarre idea of a kindness meter.
In Canada they did.
Kindness meters.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Anybody heard of kindness meters?
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, Hayley, go to one of those people, Hayley, in the audience. A kindness meter.
Did you just cheer, or did you actually heard of them before? Who cheered? I saw someone point.
Oh, no, I didn't cheer. Sorry, team.
Would you give to a kindness meter, though?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I think it's a little bit rough. I'm not too sure about some of these comments that have been made up on the panel there, like people talking about people taking advantage of people's generosity on there. Like, what kind of position do you have to be in when you're thinking, like, okay, like, I'm going to sit on the street, make a couple of bucks every hour, and that's taking advantage of the situation? We've got an issue here that really, really...
Apparently some can earn $200 a day. That's pretty good money.
Yeah, that's not too bad, but... I mean, no, like, legitimately, that's all good, but, like, I wouldn't be there. It's like... It's not a position where you're feeling good about yourself. You're not proud about it, you know what I mean?
I agree with you. Well said.
Hey, good on you. Look, good points. Thank you. And your thoughts at Backbenchers TV. I'd love to hear from you tonight. Who are you liking on the panel this evening? We are back very soon. What makes Wellington so cool?